With the school being closed for the next 2 weeks, we are entering into a phase of life relatively lacking in routine. And I've had some people ask me about ways in which to encourage reading over the festive period. So here we go. Number one, make reading visible and visibly exciting. Be visibly enthused by reading and enthusiastic about reading, and visibly derive some of your confidence and your success and your happiness from the fact that you yourself read. The young people with which you share your space look up to you, whether or not they show it. So you being a reader and a champion for reading, not just telling people to read, but reading yourself and enjoying reading, it makes an enormous difference. The OECD concluded a few years back that just having books on the bookshelf at home has an impact on performance at school and life chances. Reading them, just having books on the shelf at home is enough to make a difference. So buying your children books for Christmas is a great idea, but buying yourself a book for Christmas is also a really good idea, and buying books for the adults with which you share your space is also a really good idea. Number two, read together. Yes, I am aware that Forge Valley is a secondary school, so perhaps you might not be reading bedtime stories to your little ones. Reading a bedtime story to your little ones is a really good idea, by the way, but reading a bedtime story to your 15-year-old might be a bit cringe, might be a bit awkward, so maybe not. But that doesn't mean that reading together has to stop altogether. You can kind of sneak it in, so you could be reading a newspaper and you could say, how have you read this? Oh, I'll read it to you. What do you think of this? What do you think of this really controversial topic right now? And then read some good quality text, and then you are still reading to someone and reading together, communally. Or even homework, reading bits of homework, reading texts, anything that you've got around the house. If you're feeling particularly wholesome, buy 2 copies of a book, or borrow 2 copies of a book from the library, and then you can read them together. And that way you're not invading your private space. Your teenager can read on their own, in their own time, alone. They don't have to suffer the indignity of their legal guardian reading to them, God forbid. But then you can still connect on something that is also really, really good for you, like reading. And finally, and this one's a bit clever, so if you really want to commit to this and you think, yeah, I really want to make reading a big thing in the household, or if you think, oh, one of my children is not reading as much as I'd like them to and I really want to have a go at making something happen here, make reading the obvious choice, or make reading a desirable choice. An example of that might be screen time. Now, I'm not saying that this is definitely happening in your household, but let's say if one of the young people with which you share your space spends a lot of time staring at a screen, whether that's an Xbox or a mobile phone or a tablet, set a routine or a limit on that. So, okay, it's 8:30 now, phone's away, no more Xbox. Or a really good one that I like is you put the charger in your room. Then your young person has to choose between either having their phone after hours or having their phone fully charged the next day. And then, oh, what are you going to do? I'm really bored. I'm so bored now because I don't have my phone and my Xbox has been turned off. What am I going to do? Well, if you have a convenient book lying around, well, that's an obvious boredom killer. Anything that you can do to frame reading as the cure for boredom, that's good work. And I get people say, when I bring these things up, I get people say to me, well, it's Christmas, it's a break, give them a break. Reading is a break. Reading is one of the rare examples of something in our society that is both really good for you on so many levels. It will improve your life dramatically if you spend your spare time reading, and it is also fun. It's struggle, but there's a difference. It requires effort, but it's not a chore. It's not a bad thing to do, it's a fun thing to do, it's an exciting thing to do. Playing Xbox requires struggle. The very nature of video games is that there is a challenge involved, and yet people don't go, oh God, stop making them play computer games. But for some reason they do with books. And it's the same thing, it's a challenge, it's difficult, and yet it is also for fun. So there you go, that's my advice if you want to get kids reading for next year, if that's the New Year's resolution. I want to get the young people in my life reading more, make reading visible, be a champion, read together as often as you can, and frame reading as a choice activity, something that you choose to do for fun, the cure for boredom. All there is for me to do now is wish you a safe and happy holiday, and see you next year.